Queensland's currently experiencing significant, prolonged and widespread heavy rainfall, with 2/3 of the state currently under flood watch. Additionally, dangerous and life-threatening flash flooding is possible over certain parts of the state with embedded thunderstorms. Over the past 24 hours, we've seen the explosion of cloud over Queensland, and if we flip over to the water vapour to unpick some of that detail, the upper level trough over the Northern Territory is tearing down that moisture and lifting it and causing it to rain out over central and western areas of Queensland. That's lifting moisture which has entered inland parts from the east and northeast, which is a very tropical area for that moisture to come down from. Rain observations. 2:09 a.m. this morning, we've seen up to 114 millimetres around the central west at a station called Kirby. Nearby Mount Isa, there was a swift water rescue, which is in a city which is traditionally dry, inland city, and it just goes to show how much water is falling in the western reaches of Queensland. Elsewhere, we've seen falls around 50 to 100 millimetres along the Queensland coast, and since 9 a.m. this morning, up to 155 millimetres in the North Tropical Coast. Severe weather warning for heavy rainfall has been issued, and it's a continuation of one that was there yesterday. Stretches just south of Cairns to Townsville to Bowen, inland to Mackay, down to Emerald, Longreach and out towards Hughenden. Now that's carrying 60 to 100 millimetre rainfall rates in a 6-hourly period, and additionally life-threatening dangerous flash flooding could occur with intense rainfall, with rainfall ranges of up to 150 millimetres in more of the dry semi-arid areas, and then up to 200 or in excess of 200 rather over the North Tropical Coast and Lower Burdekin. Now, if we have a look at the forecast wind and rain, current state of affairs is we've got a trough which is acting as one focus, and another coastal trough which is sitting off the North Tropical and Burdekin coast there. Quite quickly into Wednesday morning, we're going to see the formation of a low pressure system. Now, all forecast models are wrong, but some are useful. So it's important not to become too fixated on the exact position of the low, but we know from the consensus of the guidance that there will be a focus of rainfall somewhere along that trough, and it's an important piece to follow as we move forward in time. We do have the trough still generating rainfall into Wednesday, and you can see some of that rainfall starting to enter parts of northern New South Wales. The expectation with the northern New South Wales rainfall is that we won't see very high impacts like we are seeing to the north of the border. On Wednesday, the focus dramatically shifts onto the central coast of Queensland, where into Thursday we also start to see it down onto the Rockhampton coast with lots of northeasterly flow flowing into the central coast of Queensland there. And then by Friday we should see the areas shift down into the Wide Bay Burnett, and we still have the onshore flow into southeast Queensland, but at this stage we're not anticipating large impacts as we are anticipating further north in the state. Looking at the total forecast rainfall there, we can see quite quickly during Wednesday already 100 millimetres delivered in those purple areas to semi-arid to arid parts of Queensland. The development of that low, the numbers really start to dial up, seeing pink there, which is in excess of 200 millimetres. Now, given that we've got the trough, given that we've got the low and the onshore flow onto the Great Divide, these three things will mean that the forecast rainfalls are not going to be picked up by the forecast model, and we should see falls in isolated pockets up to 500 millimetres in parts of the coast side of the Great Divide. Flood watches and warnings. We've got lots of activity left over from the Anzac Day event through the Channel Country and the Lake Eyre Basin. Now, this will look very different tomorrow, as we're already seeing rainfall falling into these catchments, and we'll see the fresh issuance of minor to moderate and perhaps even major flood warnings tomorrow. Well, if we peel those off the guidance here, 2/3 of the state are currently under flood watch. So it's important for Queenslanders to be vitally aware and precautious when this rain starts to fall, to practice more precautions with that. And then also as the flash flooding enters the rivers, then we're going to see more of a prolonged thing from days to hours to days along the coast, and then days to weeks inland. And that's it from the Bureau. Keep up to date with the latest forecasts and warnings on our website, app and social media. And please follow the advice of emergency services.